We're live.
We're live.
We're live. Actually, the light looks really good in here with the
transition cut out.
Yeah, for those watching, that's what we're working on. Well, that's what Wes is working on. I'm up top putting solar mounts on. All right, so we had planned on doing this on Instagram and Facebook. I found out last second that you can't do live video from your Facebook page, so I'll be looking at questions because I can see the live video here on my Mac, and that way I can look at questions that anybody has. And somebody did do a pre-question. You go ahead and start it, Wes.
What was a pre-question?
Oh, by the way, this is Wes from Transcend Existence. I'm pretty sure everybody watched this already know, but just in case. And if I link this to, if I do a Facebook or a YouTube upload, his channel will be in the description. But someone asked, have you ever thought about doing lithium batteries?
I have, but they're very expensive. For my setup anyway, it would cost me probably about $1,500 to $2,000 more to do the battery setup that I have for the equivalent AGMs that I already have. So that's my reasoning, I guess, just cost. Possibly in the future. I'm actually talking to another guy about possible bringing in lithium batteries from China, actually. So in the future, something like that might happen.
Same. Just the price right now doesn't make any sense when you can buy lead acid. And I feel like if you have like a dishwasher and a washing machine and an AC, and you're going to be fluctuating that power back and forth where sometimes you might need a large draw and then you can charge it up, then of course. But for this bus, what we're going to be doing, all the lights, 12 volt, draws 3 watts per light, and
23 watts probably.
Yeah.
LED anyway.
Right. And it's the biggest draw will be our laptops. So I mean, if we get a lead acid battery bank of 600, 800 amp hours, that's more than enough for anything we'd ever need in the bus right now. Now, if we upgrade to an AC one day, then yeah, but it's $900 a battery versus putting a bank together for 800 amp hours with lead acid. That's
roughly $2,500 for about 800 amp hours at 24 volts for AGMs.
Yeah, so it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, mainly a cost issue. Technology is definitely there with lithium, though, for sure.
Yeah, and that came from Casey Maxon.
Okay.
See if there's any other. So, how you liking Arizona weather?
It's great. It's really chilly in the morning. You got to have your hoodie and a beanie on for sure with my bald head. But man, once that sun makes it over this little mountain range here, you instantly start feeling the heat.
So essentially, the way that this worked out is Wes has kind of been I've been kind of bouncing ideas off of him, and I had the front transition already done, and I was doing a live video, a FaceTime with him, just being like, okay, so what should I do here? And he's trying to explain it to me. I was like, you know what, I might just leave it without putting the rear view in, because I'm getting spray foam done next week. So he's like, man, I wish I could just be there and help you with it. And I was like, well, I'll fly you in, man. I'll pay you.
So here I am.
And then 12 hours later, booked the flight?
Yeah. Next day, booked the flight. Had to ask for time off from my boss, of course. So very thankful he was, allowed me to come out here and do this. So, yeah, very cool.
David Carnival said you should really keep that vent on the roof.
As far as the escape hatches?
I think it's what he means. Yeah, they're staying on there.
Yeah.
And I also got 2 vent fans. One's going to go right here over the kitchen area, over the stove, and then another one's going to go back in the bedroom. The bedroom one will be a manual one. It'll have an in and out function, and the one going right here will be remote controlled. So because it's so tall, we won't be able to reach it, but we'll be able to open and close it and dictate the speed. So even though we won't have an AC, and this kind of goes with Henny's question, so you won't be installing an air conditioner, what we're going to try first is just stay in temperate climates, and then have one fan bringing air in and one bringing it out. Just get that circulation going and seeing if that keeps us cool enough. But it'll just be an experiment. And like I was telling Wes, if I do get something, it'll be a mini split. And I'm going to leave a panel in the back that's just going to be riveted in and just sealed. So if we want to add something later, I can just take that out, like bust out those rivets, and then run the mini split up over our bed back there. So in that way, at very worst, we could close off the bedroom area. Even if we get a smaller mini split for our battery bank or whatever, it'll still be able to keep that back room cool. Yeah. So if we have to leave Kobuk in here, we can just leave him in the bedroom and just have like a heavy blanket or something to keep it cool back there.
Or frozen in time.
Oh yeah.
I guess you got to push play for it to actually. Yeah.
So what I'll be doing is just refreshing this.
Okay.
And then it will just upload
refresh new questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Rubber Roots Bus asks, are you going to do a wood stove as well? So you did a wood stove. Why did you end up going with a wood stove?
I did a wood stove just for the ease of, wherever I'm at, mostly anyway, there should be some wood laying around that I can have free heat. So, yeah, that's basically why I did it, I guess.
And
it's a little messy carrying in wood and whatnot, but overall it heats the bus up really well. And you're doing something different on yours.
Yeah, so I'm doing let me pause this real quick. I'm going to be doing a diesel stove. So my plan is to utilize a marine diesel heater, and it has 1 or 2 cores in it. Depends on which one I get. But what I'll be able to do is use that diesel heater, because we'll have the fuel source of the tank, obviously. But that diesel heater will allow me to not only get heat from that, but also run radiant floor heating through the front. So it will be getting heat from the diesel heater, but it will also be circulating through the floor, which will also give a lot more residual heat, because you mentioned the floor of your bus actually gets fairly chilly, right?
Yeah, at my entryway, so my wood stove is right behind my driver's seat, basically, in my bus. And the entryway is so low that no heat actually gets down there. So when it's like 10 degrees up, that front section of the bus gets really cold. My dog Missy, I have her water bowl up front, and sometimes it will actually freeze. It gets so cold right in that area. So we've learned to just kind of hang a moving blanket or an insulated blanket down on the front section there, just kind of block it off. But yeah, if you put radiant heat in, your feet will love you for it, and it'll be nice heat. It'll just rise really nice. Radiant heat's really cool.
So Matt Taylor asks, are you going to have undercarriage storage, generator, and solar? So if you want, go ahead and mention how you did your undercarriage storage.
On my understorage, it was pretty much already there, but my bus was a little rusty, of course. So I had to go in and do some repair work on my understorage units. And while I was doing that, I went ahead and just kind of stretched them out a little bit, made them a little longer. So I've got more actual storage on there. What was the other part of the question?
If you're going to have a generator and solar.
Okay. For me, anyway, I've got 1,300 watts of solar up on the roof and 620 amp hours at 24 volts AGM batteries for power storage. With a 6,000 watt Ames inverter. What was the last part of that? Oh, and a generator. So what I'm doing, my system is really great. I can weld and fabricate and grind and just do all kinds of stuff with my system. And I kind of wanted to build a larger system for me, because that's the kind of stuff I do. And I wanted to show people that you can do this stuff on solar alone without having a generator. I did put in a third charging option. So basically I've got my solar that charges from, the roof of the solar panels. I can charge through my inverter if I'm plugged into shore power, but I also added a 140 amp 24 volt alternator onto my engine. So after 3 or 4 days of extensive cloud cover where my batteries start to drain down, getting close to 40 or 60% or so, I try not to keep them or let them go below about 50%. But I can just fire up the engine, and that alternator takes over, and it will charge my batteries in roughly 30 to 45 minutes. It brings them up to about 100%. So that's what I've done to not have a generator on my bus.
And I plan on utilizing the same system. Actually, I don't want to have a generator if I can get away with it. Using the alternator system, where just be able to start the bus up, let it idle for half an hour to an hour, top off the batteries. Solar, that's what I'm in the middle of right now, is installing the first part of the brackets for the solar panels, and that way just be able to utilize the solar if it does get down to 2 or 3 days. If we run down the batteries, just start the bus up. But typically what we've been doing is staying in areas where there's decent sun, so it's not going to be an issue. And worst case scenario, just start it up, or just even, if it gets to the point, just maybe hook it up to the tow car. Because Vern Fraser asked, "We're going to haul a tow?" Yes, that's the plan. Definitely going to be towing a car. The goal is to be able to get this bus set up to go out to BLM public land park for 3 weeks to a month. If the statutes of that area allow it. Drive the car back and forth to town, go exploring, go hiking, explore other cities, whatever. Just have the home base parked right there, and then have the tow car where we're able to move around, because I think that'll be really beneficial. And you're doing motorcycles, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 little vintage Honda CT90s. Actually, one of them was an ST90 that my girlfriend Delilah has. But so we've got our little motorcycle fighter ships, basically, to get away from the mothership to go exploring and grab some groceries or whatever. Yeah. Hey, those little things are the most fun I've had on 2 wheels. They're vintage Honda CT90s.
I'm sure they're cheap to insure and
yeah, they're like $5
fuel.
$5 a month, and they get about 75 miles per gallon.
That's insane.
Yeah, you can explore for the whole day and never run out of fuel. So a lot of fun.
And he asked if you have your bus with you, and if you ever done a viewing of your bus. So I'm guessing she means, like, have you ever done a video tour of your bus yet?
So on my YouTube channel, Trends in Existence, I do have a couple slight tours, I guess, but not a complete tour. I'm still working on my bus. I'm probably about 85 to 90% done. But you can definitely go on there and kind of see the total layout. And I'll do a complete extensive tour once I get it completed, hopefully midsummer-ish or so.
Yeah, and if we're traveling around in the bus or whatever, we'll have to meet up and do a video for the Tiny Home Tours channel.
Okay.
For sure.
Yep.
The Rubber Roots bus. We need to figure out who that is. I need to like that page. But do you still plan to make multiple trips back to Alaska with the bus and stay? So we were actually talking about that last night. The possibility of doing a Skoolie convoy up to Alaska in 2019, because obviously this bus won't be ready in 2 months. Yep. But possibly next year, because that's the goal, to take this year off, do the lower 48, save some cash, pay off some travel debt, get the bus ready, and then head back to Alaska, because I would love to be able to take our time in Alaska, going back and forth to Alaska, because we've never been able to really, because we're fighting the weather, our job's up in Alaska. So if we had a group of, multiple Skoolies, just drive up, be able to take our time. Like, we've scouted out all the boondocking spots, really, like all the cool spots along the way where everybody could fit, and just kind of have that set up. So that's the ultimate goal, to go back to Alaska for sure and just boondock and have that rig set up. But I mean, you plan on going to Alaska too, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping in early spring 2019 or whatever, June, May or June, whatever. I'm not sure when you plan them, but yeah, if we can get a caravan of 5 to 10 buses going up there together, man, that would be so cool.
So we're switching over to Instagram questions now. Waffles Mom. I don't know anything about this sort of thing, but I would ask, what is the most time-consuming part of this process and why? And I'm assuming she's saying the whole bus build in general.
Probably so.
So, being that you're further along with yours, you have a much wider scope of the project.
I do. I'd say, though, the way I've looked at my bus, it's been a long project overall. But in order to keep me on track, I've kind of just had one focus to get one section of the bus done at a time. I don't know that any of them's more extensive than any others. Just, you just focus on one piece at a time, you get that completed and move to the next, basically. So it's the only way you can keep moving forward. If you look at it as a whole, it becomes really overwhelming. So you got to just kind of focus on one section at a time and just complete that process.
And I found time actually melds together.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Like you have no real scope of how long you've been working on it, because it's been so, like for me, just working on it from picking it up in September to getting it to right now, I have no real conception of time. It's
Right.
just been a project that's there, and there's the next thing to do and the next thing to do, and got to get this done and got to get this done.
And then you realize when you're in that stuff, shoot, I should have done this first, and you got to kind of undo some things you've already done sometimes so you can get that done. So
far,
yeah,
I'm not to that point.
Yeah.
So far, we've been smooth and been able to think it out.
Well, I'll try to keep you moving forward always.
Yeah, because the spray foam is the first, besides obviously cutting the bus in half and raising the roof. The spray foam is the next big thing for me. That is the next final. Like there's small things that you build. It's kind of like an old video game, and then you have the boss of the level. Then it's like this big thing that happens, and you got to get it done, and you got to move a lot of parts around.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, then it's back to the small things. Then you're fighting the little guys, and all of a sudden you have the next boss of the level. And the foam is the next thing for me, where it's just like looking around, like, do I need to get this wiring done? Do I need to run extra conduit? Do I need to get, the solar mounted now, because it's actually going to be mounted to the H channel rather than just screwed in. Actually going to have nuts and bolts in there before the spray foam. Just trying to get all that done and figured out before the spray foam. So I think the most time consuming overall, besides the actual work, is just planning. Like just making sure you're not backtracking.
Yeah, I don't know how many hours I sat just in my bus, just looking and visualizing what I needed to do next and the processes I need to get it accomplished, in a good manner,
Mm-hmm. A lot easier said than done.
It is. Yep. A lot of planning.
So big box truck. Then we're going to go to Instagram for this next question, then back to Facebook. Big box truck and experience over things. Oh, I like that one. Experience over things. It's actually about the transition up front that Wes has been working on. Basically, they're asking where I sourced the material from and why we went with that particular frame. So I got that from a salvage yard here in Tucson, and it came off a 1994 Jeep Cherokee, which is what Jim from Life is Joy, his YouTube channel, helped me raise the roof. I got that because the original plan was to get a Nissan Quest. Yeah. It's the same one Wes has, just because it bends more, it flows more with that transition. But they had two Quests there. Somebody had already taken one, and the other one, the latch didn't work. So it had the opening latch, but it didn't work. So I didn't want to have a latch that might have been leaky, didn't work. So I just went back to the place, searched the Jeep Cherokee, and I didn't get one that opened. Being that I'll have fan vents up here, I won't need one that opens. I'll have enough air circulation theoretically. But yeah, that was totally purposeful. So say if we're going down the Alcan, which we probably will, we'll probably have some busted windshields for sure.
Sure.
But say we're going down the Alcan and a rock comes up and hits that front transition, yep. It's not going to be some custom piece of glass and I'm going to have to have somebody custom build. I can go to any junkyard, and if they have a 1989, I think, to 2000 Jeep Cherokee, that glass is going to fit.
Yeah.
So, and it's same with the Quest.
Yeah. Any windshield shop or salvage or whatever, you can get. Usually, a window like that costs anywhere from $80 to $125 or so. I'm more in the body shop field, so I've seen a lot of windows get swapped out. And yeah, $80 to $125 installed most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're readily. Pretty general idea of my estimation. Uh-oh. Wonder when that happened.
It says it's live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe try refreshing your page on that, possibly.
Oh, you're back.
Okay. So now are we back?
We're back. All right, so we'll go ahead and start with if you want to mention your total costs.
Okay, yeah, so I didn't actually keep track of receipts, but I got a pretty general idea of what I've got in it. And I believe the purchase price of the bus and all my solar and everything I've done in it, I'm right around the $25,000 mark. I've reused a lot of materials. I'm probably 85% reused materials. All the wood inside is recycled. cedar fencing. I got some rusty metal barn tin from an old barn roof in there, and heck, I found a bunch of 2x4s in a dumpster. Actually, my girlfriend did at her work. Found like 22 7-foot 2x4s. So they cut them down and just couldn't use them anymore. They were undersized. But yeah, right about 25,000 or so. You just try to be really resourceful in everything you do. Habitat for Humanity is great for looking for product and different things like that. Yeah.
So I have no idea how much I have in mind, but so far, pretty much all the wood, besides the bowling alley lumber that I'll be putting in for the office for sure, and that. But I mean, for mine might be a little bit more expensive because here in Tucson, I don't know what's going on with it, but I couldn't find any salvage materials anywhere, and if they were on there, it was at a premium. Right. So if I paid myself $10 an hour, the amount of time that I spent looking for salvage materials, I could have just went down to Home Depot and got them. So I think it's conditional on where you're at, because you're right next to an an aircraft manufacturer. So all your flooring was actually, like, the base was pallets, right?
Yeah, my plywood came from some aircraft pallets that I just tore down. Like I say, I just tried to resource everything. And again, I've owned my bus for a little over 5 years, or right about 5 years now, and I had about 3 years to collect materials before I actually started really hot and heavy on my bus. So I had some time to kind of plan and grab things where you're ready to roll now, you know. So,
right.
Yeah, the time allowed me to find stuff.
That has been kind of something. I mean, I was looking at Craigslist every day, public surplus, every auction site, just trying to find something that would work, and it just wasn't happening. Like I said, I could have just paid myself $10 an hour, just went down to Home Depot and not worried about it. So if you're thinking about doing that, that's something to consider.
Yeah, a lot of pre-planning involved in it.
Kevin Hedges asks, where and how did you guys get the best, most useful info on solar?
So, for me anyway, I've got a friend, Billy Tatum, with the All Inspired Bus. You can check him out on Facebook. Just look up All Inspired or Billy Tatum.
I'll link that in the description if this is a YouTube video later on.
Okay. But yeah, I actually met him at a meetup down in Texas a couple of years back, I guess, and I took a tour of his bus, and he had some really fantastic solar stuff, and I was kind of at the point where I was ready to buy solar, and he had a system that he wanted to put in a bus at one point, and it was a bit costly, but you know, I plan on living in the bus for a long time, so I got most of my information from him, and you know, I've definitely learned a lot since then, for sure. But yeah, to answer the question, Billy Tatum, All Inspired.
Yeah, he says thanks. He's actually in Texas right now.
Okay, cool.
And last question, because we got to get back to work. Got to be productive.
Okay.
So if anybody has a question real quick, but what we can kind of... so somebody, when you asked about Underbase Storage, so the plan for me is to do Underbase Storage. That might be something in the future. I have big plans for Underbase Storage. I want to have chickens.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Like, that's one of my ultimate goals with this bus, and I'm not even joking. I'd love to have chickens and just have eggs all the time.
Yep.
And so 2 100-gallon tanks are being delivered today, and I have a 65-gallon tank, and the goal is to put that 65-gallon tank underneath and get a water pump and be able, say we're next to a lake or a river or any type of waterway, actually pump that water into that tank, and that tank can be used for showering or anything else we might need. And then in that way, we can just continuously, like, say, shower water, or maybe even dishes water if we boil it or something. I don't know. But the goal is to use, you know, water that's around us so we don't have to keep filling water. But 200 gallons for 2 people and a dog, that should last us a while.
You should, yeah, I would say 3 weeks to a month, maybe even.
The goal's a month.
Definitely. I think you could do that easily with that many gallons.
So let me look through here, see if there's any other questions.
I've got close to 100 gallons in mine, and I can go roughly a week and a half to 2 weeks if I'm careful.
And how much do you have?
Almost 100 gallons. I got 96 gallons in mine.
So when you shower, do you just leave the water on? Do you do military showers? Like, how do you do that?
So right now I've got access to water, so I'm not so careful. But when I was trying to kind of predict the usage I would have, I took some quick military showers, of course, and I could stretch it right about to the 2 week mark. One thing I should say though is I usually take 2 showers a day, so one in the morning and one at night, because I'm holding a regular job, building hot rods and whatnot, so I do get a little dirty. I'm assuming once I'm on the road, I'll probably just knock that down to 1 shower a day, more than likely. I won't be getting so filthy, so yeah, it ought to last a little longer.
Alrighty. So, we might do another one of these while Wes is in town, but that is it for now. Thanks for everybody that was watching the live video, and I might just upload this guy to YouTube as well. So,
all right. I want to say hi to Delilah if you're watching. I saw a comment on here for you.
Yep.
Stay warm tonight.
She's watching.
So, cool.
Thanks for letting me borrow Wes, Delilah. Appreciate it. She waved to you.
Love you, girlfriend.
All right. See you guys.